What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Down South Off-Road and Outdoor. In this episode, we're going to be coming to you from Outlaw Off-Road in Charlotte. Now, that may sound familiar because Outlaw Off-Road is in a lot of other YouTube videos because they build some of the baddest crawlers on the planet. In this video, we're going to be showing you why you need to take your off-road vehicle to an off-road specialist instead of a mechanic. So stay tuned.
Hey guys, so I am here with Josh at Outlaw Offroad of Charlotte, and we've had a lot of work done on Bella over the last 8 months. And some of you guys have followed along, some of you guys are aware of it, but if you have followed at all, back in January we replaced the wheels and tires on Bella. We also replaced the tie rod, the drag link, and the ball joints. Now, after we did all of that work, Bella drove like absolute dog shit, and we ended up taking it to 5 different shops, 7 different visits, and every single visit that we took it to, or every single shop that we took it to, they would tell us that after some minor changes or some changes in parts, we spent a whole lot of money. They would say, you know what, that's just how the Jeep's gonna drive, and that's just the way Jeeps drive. Well, I'm here to tell you that is not the way Jeeps are supposed to drive. Jeremy finally convinced me to make the trip to Outlaw Off-Road in Charlotte to have Bella looked at to see if, in fact, this is just the way that it was going to be. And so we met with Josh, and he said, yep, bring it on down. Let's take a look at it. Let's assess. And Josh, tell us what you found at that point.
Well, after you saying what you did, I drove it. I wanted to drive it myself and see what she was talking about. And yeah, it was very, it was dangerous. Let's just say that. It wasn't safe. It would jump around a lot. If you got on it, it would move over lanes. And right when I drove it, after I got back, I was like, man, I really think it's like a geometry issue, a steering issue. So me and one of my techs, we laid under it, we looked at it. As soon as we got under there, we saw that the track bar and the drag link were way off. Like, I think 6 degrees off, and that's just not good. You need like 1, maybe 2, you're okay, but you really want them to be parallel. And that's what we found, and they had a raised track bar bracket on there, and it was just bolted on. It didn't really need to be on there with the steering they had because it wasn't flipped. So instead of making them buy parts or doing whatever, we said, hey, let's just try to take this track bar bracket off. So that's what we did. We took the track bar bracket off. We bolted everything back up. I went for a test drive, and it was like night and day. It just got those steering angles. We checked the angles. I think it was like 0.7 degree off still, but it was perfect. Drove great. And that's what we did, and it drove. I wanted her to come see and drive it and make sure that you felt like it was right, and you did, and I think you liked it.
Absolutely. So what happened is that anytime I would go anywhere above 40, 45 miles an hour, get on interstate, then Bella was all over the road. You could not control the Jeep. There was multiple times I tried to pass transfer trucks, and it would throw me all over the road.
Oh, yeah.
When we drove up north on a long trip, I ended up pulling into the slow lane going 40 miles an hour because it was such a disaster. And this, I tell you guys this because, again, all of these shops told us that's just how it's going to drive. And once Josh got a hold of it, he drove it and tested her speed at like 80, 90 miles an hour. And
I sent you a video.
Yeah, you sent me a video.
One finger.
One finger.
Yeah, going
and
down
finally stable.
485 and going beside trucks, everything, and she was just tracking
And it was
straight.
beautiful.
And the first time I did it, I was scared. I was two-handing it. So, but yeah, so I knew then. I was like, I think I fixed it.
Perfect.
So, and with no parts.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
And that was the other thing is somebody had suggested that we just get rid of the tie rod and drag link.
It kept coming loose too, didn't it?
Yeah.
It did for a little while. So yeah. And
So
it didn't come loose
yeah.
after that. Yeah.
So yeah, it's not come loose since, and we've wheeled it up in Harlan, Kentucky. So
Nice.
Great job.
Thank
So after Josh proved himself and
I had to prove myself
gave
to
me,
her. At least Jeremy thought I was okay.
and once I had the confidence in what Outlaw did for us and the way that he took care of Bella. The next thing that I was concerned about is that we are riding on stock axles on 35s, and I do like to push Bella to the limits. At this point, we do not want to replace the axles.
And it's not a light Jeep. I just want to second that.
Yeah.
It's not a light Jeep. So
If you guys
they
have
take stuff
followed
with them.
anything, we have a lot of gear in the back with our overlanding. So one of the things, the conversations that Josh and I had, I said, we are on a budget, and that's always been a big concern. A lot of folks, including myself, there's a misconception that Outlaw only builds these huge, expensive monster rigs that's going to cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. And don't get me wrong, they can definitely do that if that's what you're looking for. But we live on a budget, and so we were concerned about using Outlaw Off-Road, and this is where we can debunk or prove that wrong. So one of the things I told Josh is, I'm not changing out my axles, but I am a little concerned running on my stock axles with the types of wheeling that we like to do. What do you suggest, and what was it that you suggested to us?
I mean, if you're going to keep Dana 30 in the front, even the 44s, they're the same axle tubes, they're the same C's on the Dana 44 JK and the Dana 30. So I say this to anybody. We decided to do the Apex Truss Kit from Artec. It's the full truss, C gussets, upper and lower, and control arm skids, and that helps strengthen up the Dana 44 and the 30, and especially the 30 on this one. We just wanted to get a little bit, knowing y'all might want to go to 37s later. And I mean, in the past, I ran a Dana 30 on 37s, as long as you're easy on it and you kind of don't hop it a little bit, it'll be fine, especially with the truss. But you're not going to bend that axle with that truss kit. Artec makes great stuff, and that's what they needed, and I think that's what they got here, and it looks good.
Absolutely.
I think it's going to hold up out west for sure.
Excellent. So that's, just so you know that it's very reasonable to do this type of modification. It's very budget friendly, and Josh and his team did a beautiful job with that. Now, in addition to this visit, we said, you know what, we are going out to Utah and Colorado. We're going to be doing some heavy wheeling. It's just going to be the two of us in one Jeep. We're concerned about being on those trails. Do us a favor, go through the entire Jeep. She's 2012, go through the entire Jeep, check all the bolts, check all the things, and see if there's anything that you would be concerned about taking this Jeep on a trip on your own. And once he got in there, Josh, tell me what you found.
Well, the rear diff was leaking too, so you were concerned about that. So you were like, hey, the diff fluid hasn't been changed, so let's do that too. So we checked all the bolts, paint marked those, got that good to go. They're all paint marks, so they can just get out and look and see if a bolt's loose. And then when we got in these diffs, we did the front looked good. We opened up the rear and saw that the spider gears in the carrier were just chewed up. I mean, they were gone. And knowing that, I mean, you can just do a carrier, it's a cheaper option, but knowing that those big chunks were inside those gears and getting inside those pinions, and we actually did see a few cracks in the pinion, we said that they would need gears. And instead of going back with the factory gear or going to a lower gear, and again, knowing they might want to go 37s eventually, we suggested they go to 488s. And it'll be fine for 35s for a while, and that's what they did. They decided to go to 488s, and they needed a new carrier, obviously, because the spider gears were messed up in that one. And when you buy a carrier, they come disassembled, so we have to put this, so it's cheaper than like a limited slip or a locker, but then we have to add time to putting that carrier together and then putting it in. So we have to put the spider gears in there and everything, so you actually come out cheaper getting a limited slip. And a locker would cost a little more, but you come out cheaper getting a limited slip. So that's actually what I decided to do for them, was a limited slip in the rear, kind of the second best thing to a locker. So when you get off road and those two wheels are spinning, that rear is going to kick in and go. So you'll be good to go. It'll be a lot better, a little more confidence out west.
Absolutely. Well, and in addition to this, first of all, he found the disaster that is,
I was nervous. I hate making those calls.
Yeah. Well, and what's really cool is especially
knowing people are on a budget.
Yeah. He understood, he respected that we were on a budget. He didn't just throw some expensive part at us. He said, listen, these are the options that you have, and was appreciative of what we were trying to accomplish. He knew a lot of folks that avoid coming to Outlaw, they think that they have these monster rigs, and while yes, they can build anything that you want to build, even those of us that do just everyday daily driving or minor off-roading or overlanding, they can accommodate those builds as well, and they are budget friendly.
Or just stock. If you need new tires, new wheels, you don't have to put a lift on it.
Yeah.
We do all that. I mean, that's our day-to-day thing. These are rare. These big builds like this are rare. That one, like a lot of this stuff is rare. That's the fun stuff. And this is fun. Like everything's fun. But like the little stuff, the smaller stuff, that's what gets us by. That's our bread and butter.
Awesome.
We love doing it. That's where everybody started. I started there, you started there, everybody started there. And I remember that. And that's the big thing. You just gotta remember, when you start doing stuff like this, you just gotta remember that not everybody's there. And that's what I like to do.
And Josh, if someone is interested in working with you here in Charlotte, how can they get in touch with you?
Facebook, Outlaw Offroad Charlotte. Any Outlaw Offroad location is good, truthfully. We have Greensboro, we have a bunch. We have Greensboro, Asheville, Huntsville, Alabama, Mississippi Gulf Coast now, Atlanta, and Knoxville coming soon, Tennessee. So
Nice.
we are all across the Southeast.
Very nice.
So there's one close, you know, but if you're close enough, come to me. But
Come to see Josh.
yeah,
in
come to Charlotte. Yeah, we'll definitely do you right. But yeah, I mean, we just love working on Jeeps. It don't matter what size they are.
Team
And
done for us.
SUVs and trucks. I just want to make that clear. Not
Go
just
ahead,
Jeeps.
tell us again.
Not just Jeeps, trucks, everything. And to go back to what you were saying, we have a local phone number. There's a 1-800 number that you can get off the Facebook page. The local number is 704-370-9545.
Thank you.
And yeah, just hit us up, Facebook, Instagram, anywhere, and send in a quote request or give us a call.
Awesome. Josh, we honestly cannot thank you enough for what you've done. I mean, the peace of mind that I have going out west, the peace of mind that I have getting on the trails now. I've been so nervous for the last 8 months, even doing an easy trail in Western North Carolina. I was nervous as hell about, just I wanted out of the Jeep. I even said at one point to Jeremy, I said, I'm ready to trade Bella.
Oh.
And I have been I actually started calling her, I'm ready to trade the Jeep. She had lost her name because I was so frustrated and I'd lost my love for her.
Before I got to where I am now, I've been there, not knowing what to do, not knowing how to fix stuff. I mean, I have been there, like just Jeep pushing for no reason. Like I had to just figure it out, and that's what we've done. That's what I've done my whole life. I mean, this is the 27th Jeep I built myself, and I've only had a shop for a year, so I've done it my whole life for fun.
Yeah.
So that's where I learned, geometry. That's where you learn how that Jeeps don't have to drive that.
Yeah.
They just don't.
Well, and that's just it. I think the key here is that the smaller shops, there's nothing wrong with them if they need to change brakes or spark plugs or things of that nature. But if you're off-roading your Jeep, if you're making major modifications to your Jeep, that's where a true off-road shop needs to come in, because that knows the Jeep and knows how it should be set up. Here's the thing, this was a simple fix. It actually wasn't a very big fix. So many people looked at it and we replaced so many parts that didn't need to be replaced. They changed things or adjusted things so many times and it still drove like shit on the highway at 45 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Jeeps do not have to drive that way. If someone knows and understands how a Jeep geometry is set up, that's typically all that it takes. So yeah, I'm appreciative of Josh. We can't thank him and his team enough. Outlaw Off-Road, they've been very thorough, just absolutely wonderful to work with. And yeah,
Thank you. That's what we do it for, truthfully.
Thanks,
That's what excites us, is people having more confidence in their vehicle after we get done.
Nice.
So we like it.
Well, that's definitely happening here. So.
Look at that guy.
Hey guys, I was walking around looking at all the cool shit in the background, and I wasn't really listening. But did you say that now she could go bigger if she wanted to, just in the future?
I mean, it might be set up for that.
Bigger?
I mean,
bigger?
it's got the.
We know you like bigger, okay?
I mean, sometimes size matters.
Oh,
I mean,
don't be showing off.
Bigger?
It's definitely better.
Bigger. Maybe. All right. Again, thanks, Josh. We appreciate you, man.
Anytime.
Hey, guys. So what do y'all think, now that I'm on 488s, how would Bella look with some 37s? Tell me what you think in the comments.